small group.
Yeah, and they may filter in here. I'm gonna figure out. They might be jumping on soon.
All right. Chat open AI. Does anybody need this?
I got mine done.
Okay. Got mine done. What did you get done?
Oh, I was adding Rhett to my,
Ah,
everybody else I had.
okay. So when we were talking, I was like, what do you want me to talk about? Because normally it's the same thing. Get an action, get the action, get the action, get the action. She's like, what's the tier 2 people? So you guys are already, like, you already know how to do that part. So I'm really excited. So what you guys will talk, we'll talk about whatever you guys want. I just want to sit here and what problems are you guys having? Let's just figure it out. Because it's kind of a mastermind feels like what you guys were looking for. So there's 3 or 5, I think there's 5, and I wrote them down because I explained this to somebody the other day. And they were like, oh, that's good to know. If I'm asking questions with these things in mind. So I'm gonna point back to these to make sure that I don't go on a rabbit hole for 50 minutes trying to explain this piece so that then we can answer the question. Does that make sense? Yeah, the first thing is what a frame of reference is. Do you guys already know what this is?
Frame of reference.
Yeah,
Like your perspective, like the way you
it's really close.
see things or like based on your experience.
Yeah, so it's going to be the filter in which you bring data in. Your frame of reference is how you interpret said data, and then it makes you act the way you act, right? So the perfect example of frame of reference is like, actually, you're too young, you might have said. Have you guys seen The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you say Rachel, you're too?
you might be. Have you seen The Sixth Sense?
No.
So the
Many friends.
Throughout that-
No.
well, Paul, I don't want to spoil
It
it.
is literally,
Okay,
like you were 5, I think, 4.
Yeah, probably.
97,
it's-
baby.
97.
But the catch is, you think it's one thing the entire time.
No.
How long since did you see the movie?
It's probably been 15 years since I've
Okay.
seen it.
After we talk about this, go back and watch it, because
Yeah.
it will solidify what I'm saying, because I watched it, I was like, holy shit, this is the perfect example of the thing that I'm, oh my gosh. Sarah was like, relax. I'm like, no, this is so big, this is so cool.
It's a breakthrough.
It was, it is a shift in my perspective, which changed my frame of reference. So you think one thing is happening the entire time. And then one thing happens at the end of the movie, which we won't say since Rich has not seen
It
it.
changes your.
And then you go back and you look at all the pieces and you're like, oh my God, it was completely different. And then it changes the way you feel like that movie the entire time. One thing changed at the end, that changed everything else. This is a good example of what this is. I will go back and if I'm asking questions now, I'll be like, all right, what's your frame of reference around that thing? Because we make assumptions, because that's what your brain does naturally to make sure that like we have a template to use. So if you're not intentional about your frame of reference, it just makes it up. And then it's always changing. So I'll ask what your frame is around that thing. Any questions there? Okay. I truly believe you're winning at what you're doing. This is from Gary John Bishop's book, Unbleep Yourself. If you don't believe this is the case, let's get coffee. I'll show you that you're wrong.
Is it unblink yourself or does it actually have the word?
It's UN apostrophe UCK.
Okay.
Gary John Bishop. Are you a reader or do you listen?
Audible.
I think I have it.
It's like
I think I've already listened to
It's like a
it.
2-hour listen.
Okay.
It's really, really good. The other thing that I need you guys to understand is we all know lead generation sucks. And that never changes. It's always hard. So especially with this group, I don't want to talk about it's hard and I don't want to do it. Neither do I, and it sucks. We know that. Your brain. Oh gosh, is that Brain or Brian? That's Brain. Yeah.
That's brain, that's brain. You got it. You got it.
There was like a year in my life that was miserable.
Mhm.
Like, how do I, let's see. I'm gonna spell this wrong. Interprets. That's close enough.
You mash them together, nobody can tell.
Oh man, that's a pro move.
Hmm.
Your brain interprets novelty as threat every time. Your brain's whole purpose, whether you love it or not, is to keep you alive. Okay. So if you're doing something new and you don't have a template that you've picked out, you're gonna be uncomfortable. Because your brain, and it makes sense because your brain doesn't want you to do it. So until you figure out a template or a way to do it, which most of the time is by action, which is why I'm always screaming, just do something, please. It's because then you can do this, but please understand, if you're a thrill seeker and I ask you to sit down and be quiet, that's new to you, you're not gonna like it, you're gonna be uncomfortable. If you're quiet and I ask you to go in front of both people, you're uncomfortable, you're not gonna do it. So anything that's new, your brain interprets as threat until you show it that it's not. Okay? This is the piece we'll probably spend the most time explaining. Did anybody, maybe you went, did you go to shift, Cassie?
Yes.
Okay, this is a summarized version of that. There's two agents, there's two types of agents. We'll get into this, but this is people that work with, let's call this sphere. This is the agent everybody wants to be, no open houses, no nasty talking to strangers we don't know.
That's Amy.
And then there's people that don't know that many people and have to talk to strangers. I believe everyone's goal, unless you want to have a mega team, is to go from 2 to 1. That's it. So if you have your database, which I'm sure you do, I know she's telling you to, and you have enough people to support the life that you want to live, I believe you should do lead generation in these ways. If you don't have this many people in your database, it means you have to talk to strangers so that you can move from 2 to 1. Okay? If you do not want to talk to strangers, what you have to do is change your frame of reference and fix all of these different things. And then over time, and I'm talking years, you get to move from 2 to 1. Cool? Okay. Now I did it in 5 minutes. That's sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about?
I want to talk about, don't erase that, send me the right ones.
Okay.
I told Shanna that I
Mhm.
want a script that I can practice so that it rolls off my tongue.
Okay.
When people say, how is the market right now? Because you know what I'm saying to people right now?
Good.
Weird.
Okay.
And then I'm like, every time I'm like, oh, let me say that out loud. So I need a script. I need an educated response
Mhm.
that makes them feel confident in the market.
Okay.
But I need to be able to like drive in my car and practice it all day so that when that question comes up, because it comes up every day,
Mhm.
I know what to say.
Already back up. All right, so here we go.
I sat in on something that Adam Grady and Carrie were talking about.
Yep.
And their response to always when they get that question is
Why do you
great.
ask?
Why do you ask? To get the concern that they're dealing with.
So I want to show you guys how to make that. Because here's the thing, if you just, if I tell you go say this thing, you're not gonna go say that thing because you have no ownership in it and nor do you care about it. Right? That's why we don't say it. You've heard the things all the time. Did someone say something?
Yeah, Christy said, how do you get the new data to fill in the blanks?
How do you get what?
The new data to fill in the blanks.
Oh, yeah, I'll show you right now. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we're gonna do. So if you can be working so it's a relationship business, okay, we all know that. I'm gonna try and make this a formula, and I'm gonna use not math. So it's gonna be kind of weird. But this is a Socrates thing. I heard Jason Abrams talk about it. This goes back forever. Harvard has studied this and it makes sense. If this is the frame that you build all of your scripts from, it'll make a ton of sense. Okay? Because what this is up here, it's called the trust triangle. I wish they called it something else, but they don't. It is what it is. So this is authenticity. And this is why this matters, Amy, because if you're telling me something that I don't think you would say, then it feels weird and it feels off. And then you feel weird and off, and then so it doesn't matter. And here's empathy. And over here is logic. What bums me out about most agents that don't do stuff is they're all here. Which is fine, except for you have to be all three in order to actually build trust. So when we're talking about the script that we need, like, this is where this part comes into play. Do you know them? If yes, then it should be one thing. If no, then it should be the other. Does that make sense? So do you want to build a script for someone you know or don't know? Actually, let's do no. Let me stop asking a bunch of questions. Let's do this because this is what you want to be, right? Okay. So they already trust you. Okay, you believe that through and through.
Yes.
So do you have any problem asking them for business at all?
I don't have problems asking people for business.
Okay.
I do have problems, as you both well know, just calling people and having that, I worry that they will think that I'm just asking for their business and not calling them in an authentic way.
Hmm.
Now, when I'm having a conversation with somebody, like if they said, you know, anything about, we've been thinking about selling our house, or, you know, mom's going into assisted living, or, you know, whatever the situation may be, I'm gonna have no problem putting myself out there as their future agent.
Yeah, I'll tell you what works for me there. Don't follow up to get their business, follow up because it makes you feel better. The reason you're worried about that, because you are authentic. I can say that because I do know you, so like you shouldn't be worried about that, but we are as people, because we're wired for that. Know that following up is going to get you business, always. Follow up so you have peace of mind, so that you don't, so you can change your template to your frame of reference to know that they're not going to think that, because they very rarely actually do. So like with the team, one thing we just did is we all sat down and was like, all right, how do you guys want to, how are you actually going to follow up? How do you guys want to actually do it? I'm not talking about let's send mailers, like we can do that, but like what's the thing that if someone reached out to you and said, hey, why are you guys doing that? We'd be like, because we think this is cool. Because we don't feel bad about it. I guess I could put 6 down here. You are always your biggest problem. Biggest. And thank God, you can change that. That's very easy to change. So to make you not feel that way, call more people. It sounds dumb. Call more people, then like there's a threshold for you somewhere where you're gonna hit it, and then all of a sudden you're not gonna worry about that anymore. The unfortunate part, it just takes more action. And then that will go away because they'll won't hate you and it'll be fine and your frame of reference will change. But so let's build the script, okay? So you're you, we know that, right? You're a very good listener. Do you believe that you're smart enough to get them where they want to go? Okay, so then, like, this is scripts, guys. What question do you need, or what do you need to tell them if it's a good market or not? Logically, we're just talking straight logic, right?
What do I need to tell them
Mhm.
so that they know that it's a good market?
Mhm.
I mean, just the facts. The facts.
For who?
Well, I don't know.
Right, is it the same for buyers and sellers?
No. I mean, if they're a buyer and a seller.
There you go. So to the Grady script, why do you ask? Because if you're buying, it's one thing, if you're selling, it's another. And it's important to know that if you're selling, you're probably buying, so you're gonna experience both. But right now, why do you ask? And you have to have the data to answer both those questions. But they're asking for a reason, because people don't like small talk. We do small talk, we don't like small talk. And this is why I like this piece, 2 scripts. Because they're like, nah, okay, well, if you're selling, it's better than buying. If you're buying, it's pretty hard right now. Inventory's low. Do enough so they know you know what you're talking about.
Right.
Don't do the good. It's fine, it's moving fast. Like show that you know what you're doing. Always show them that you know what's up. And then if they say, well, we're thinking about, okay, there might be a need there. Now let's start digging. What information do you need to actually help them? Because here's the thing. If you're aiming and you can solve their problem, you have to listen. Like the only way to have empathy for something is to listen and understand where they are. That means you have to understand them and know where they are. Do not make assumptions. And so if you're listening to them and they're saying, oh, I'm a seller, like, oh, okay, cool. Sellers are experiencing this. I'm a buyer, cool. Buyers are experiencing this. You have to be able to get that information first. So the reason you're asking the question isn't just to get the information, it's so that you can actually build trust with them. You need the information so that you can be empathetic. And then please, this is where I want to make sure that I keep going back to this. You have to continue being good at your job. In order to do this, you have to do all 3. To go further, you have to do it in a way that you like. Like if I go get on the phones, I might close people all day long. I will hate it.
Mhm.
And if they meet me in person, I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. I'd be like, yeah, because I hate it. You can do all three. It's really fun. So what's the script, Amy?
So the script is, it's great, why do you ask?
My
then I did-
mom's thinking about retiring and moving to Florida.
Oh, really? That's amazing, that's my personal life goal, tell me more about that.
More about her retiring and moving to Florida.
Yeah,
She just doesn't like cold weather.
so, remind me what your mom did again?
She's in IT.
She's in IT,
Mhm.
wow,
She loves.
and so
novelty
she had to be here for her job.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, so now she's gonna go live her best life.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'm so excited for her. Who's gonna sell her house?
Love it. Could you have closed faster if you already know me? At what point were you talking just to talk? I'm asking because it's fine, but at what point did you have the information that you need and you could have just asked me? Because you know me. And it's very different if you don't know me.
I mean, I could ask you right at the very first thing you
That
said,
sentence.
Sure.
but I also do authentically love to get information out of people.
We'll do that. No, this
That's
is,
why I did hair for 12 years, not because I liked hair, because I wanted to know every single thing that was happening to somebody.
so then for you,
I
maybe
had
do
an hour to.
4
figure it out.
questions and then close.
Mhm.
And then like, just rock and roll with it. Okay, gathering information shouldn't use it. Cool. You want me to help you with that? Like however you want to, but make sure you do the ask.
Mhm.
Like the amount of people, I just want people to like me. That's like, great, you're gonna starve. And they wouldn't use you.
Yeah, if you asked.
So.
Say that again for the people who didn't hear what you just said.
They would use you.
And if you don't ask, you will starve.
You will.
Yes. Just in case that didn't hit right in your feelers.
Like it sucks. Like you. This is the thing that I get fired up and really passionate about, because if you don't do anything, and I say anything because we're wired to win, I've not seen anyone do something in real estate consistently and not make money. And I have like searched to find people that are like, yeah, I worked my ass off and I just didn't make it. Doesn't exist. This is what I love about frame of references. Right? And so we have confirmation bias, which people have probably heard about that. But basically, if you believe something, your brain is going to automatically, you don't get to decide this, your brain automatically picks things that confirm the thing that you believe. Okay? So if you choose to believe X, Y, and Z, your brain will decide to find those things. You're wired, man, I forget where I was going with that. But basically, just freaking do it. Like, oh, that's what it is. So if you have a frame of reference that you created, you can test it. That's why that's why this matters. Not so you just have like an operating system, but like, so if someone comes in and like, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm like, cool. Are you willing to do that thing?
Mhm.
Like, yeah. I'm like, no, like really, because like that's the hard part, is doing that thing forever. That's the hardest part about real estate sales.
Mhm.
So create your script and put a loose box around it. So when someone says, hey, how's the market? Okay, I need to figure out, are they a 2 or a 1?
Mhm.
Okay, they're a 1. That means I can close them whenever I feel comfortable, right? If they're a 2, what should it be?
Maybe that's the one I need the most help with.
It was the one that took me freaking forever to figure out. It's a system and who cares? If you don't know them and you don't need them, don't stress out about it. See if you can get the business to move on. Which, by the way, is what you should do, even if you just work with 2s.
Mhm.
Why do you ask? Oh, we're selling. Okay, cool. Are you looking for an agent to help you guys sell, or? Because most of the time, the direct ask. Last week, I literally just started doing this with the team. Yeah, but like, what are you saying? And I've just been screenshotting all of my appointment texts and posting them. Like, you're just asking, I'm like, because that's all you have to do. Like, there is no trick to it. Hey, can we get coffee and talk about that? Yeah, sure. No, I don't like coffee. Cool, do you want to is there another thing? Or do you not want to meet? No, I want to meet, that's fine, I just don't like coffee. Okay. No, I'm not really looking to meet right now. Okay, cool. Do you care if I follow up until you are ready to meet? No, sweet. Like, as people, we really like not having to sift through stuff. And then just make sure that you're authentic and you follow up.
True, I hate thrift stores. That might be part of my problem.
Why do you hate thrift stores?
Because I have to sift through things.
You
I
don't
won't go
wanna
to
hunt, you wanna
TJ
walk right there,
Maxx, I
that's
won't do any of that.
Yeah, we love convenience.
My heart.
I mean, I'll go to the kitchen.
You'll get there.
I won't go to clothes.
No, yeah, you'll get
I'll go to
there.
clothes.
Yeah, I only go to the kitchen and, yeah.
People are willing to pay for convenience.
Mhm.
If what you show them is that you are who you say you are, and what you're saying is, hey, I'm really good at my job and I can sell your house. You're gonna take the time to figure out why you need to do so and that you can do it, you will get their business every single time. The problem is when you get too busy, and this is where systems and models help, you start losing one of these three things, and then you start losing business.
Very true.
Okay, so they asked the question, we're deciding if they're a 1 or a 2. If they're a 1, we're just gonna have conversation with them because it's no problem, and at some point, we're gonna make the ask. And like, why do you ask is good because it gets them going, but like, if they're selling or buying at some point, you need to make a specific close. Is that a need that you're going to have that I can help you with? And it's taken me 1.5 years to get those words in that order. Is that a need that you are going to have that I can help you with? Yeah. Not, can I create a need so I can force you to do something because I need to get paid?
I like that.
Good, it's worked really well for me.
I mean, that resonates, like, cause that's my hang up, I think. I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to create a need that doesn't exist. Partially because I was in network marketing for a long time, trying to sell things to people they didn't need.
Yeah.
But I was always it was so rewarding when they wanted what I had. And that's,
That's sales.
I don't want this anymore, I want this, I want it to be rewarding and I want it to be helping people. And
You
I
wanna
want it
be
to
wanted.
because they wanted to do it.
Yes. So the part that you like loved right there, that's sales. The part that you didn't like is marketing,
Mhm,
right? Sales is helping someone identify what they need and helping them find it.
mhm,
If you have a thing, you're looking for people that will buy the thing, that are looking like that it will help them. The moment you start marketing to it, we're going from 1 to 2.
mhm.
By the way, prospecting-based business, marketing-based business, right? Marketing is one way, prospecting is two-way.
Mhm.
In order for it to be two-way, you have to talk to them, right? So frame shift, right? When you're asking them questions, it's not to see if you can sell them something. Because you can't sell houses. Like I say that 1,000 times, for me in my head, I'm not gonna convince you that you need a house. Do I believe in home ownership? 1,000%. If it's not for you, it's not for you, and I'm moving on. But if you don't ask the questions, you're not gonna know if they actually have the need or not. And what's hard is we're in a market center that is really, really good at a lot of things, and we give you the script that will work, but if you do not understand why it works, it's gonna be hard for it to work. Most of the time. There are rare people that are just like, I just say that and I just go, and you're like, yeah, okay. And you're like, holy hell. Wow. You got it written down? Or you texting somebody? I can't see because your laptop.
I'm texting my 17-year-old really quickly.
It's all good. Cassie, what you got? More? Come here.
So to go back to what you said about just asking for the business,
Mhm.
because you more than likely will get it. I think a lot of it too is like, for me personally, my past experience is like, I would do lead gen like once every other week,
Mhm.
like one day.
Yeah.
And then I would just try to cram in all these like not qualified leads, just so I can say I did it. So for you, do you treat, like, to me, it seems like the pipeline and the database should be protected so that like all the people you're putting in there should be qualified. how do you go about like qualifying leads, whether they're ready to buy or sell now or in a year from now? Like,
Yeah.
what's your process look like?
It's a good question. To be honest with you, I've not had one. Because it's been such a crazy market the last 2 years, but what we're doing, what we're moving to do is we've got a lead pool, which is the twos. Unsubscribe, I don't care what you do, like whatever, qualified, non-qualified, I don't care. I actually don't put you in my database until I have a successful transaction with you that I enjoyed. Now, I started doing this when I started, so I don't really know. I had the luxury of being able to take the time to do that. Some people don't, so I don't know how to speak to that. But like your database is a record of your relationships, right? So I don't remember, I think it was Jason. Like if you move them to the one category and you don't call them to make sure, like I know probably for 85% of the people in my personal database, I know where they want to move in 7 years. Because my goal is to get them there. If their income is high enough, we don't have to talk about real estate investing. I just have to look for the thing and make sure that when your home equals this amount, you guys can then look at moving to Southern Hills. If you do not make a ton of money, then we've got to figure out how to make you more money. Real estate investing is a good way to do that. Or you can get really good at something and then go make more money. We're going to reduce your expenses. How are we going to do it? I'm not going to do that with people I don't like. Right. Like, and over time, I think there's a magic number. I heard this from Wayne Frederick when I first started. So I was against big teams for the longest time. I have mad respect for them now because it's wild. But if you're going to be an agent that's one, you need like 300 people. And then you can do this at a high level and it should get you everything that you need. If you want to build a big team, you cannot do so as just a one. It is impossible to do. So if you have any aspirations to be a mega agent or do more than like, let's say 50 deals a year, you're going to have to do some work.
Okay, so let me go back to, you said in your database is just the people that you've had a good transaction with.
Mhm.
That is your database, not your team's database. Your
Right.
team, now, do you have an ISA? Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. Everybody has an ISA.
Themselves.
It's me. But I don't
Right,
have a person that calls them.
okay, so, so you don't lead generate through like Facebook sources or anything like that? Like advertising? So everybody's using their own personal sphere to contact?
And Rachel can speak to this. So you cannot leverage relationships. Okay, like we're talking about, you can't leverage lead generation. You have to be the one to do the thing.
Right.
So, but well, no, I don't do any Facebook marketing. I do build brand awareness and I do that not through marketing, but it's more so like prospecting on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sat down with a lot of people like, okay, how do I do the thing? And it's like, you have to be in public, you have to not be a shitty person, you have to post consistently, and
Right.
you have to be like,
So, okay, so I guess I'll say this, you get a sign call.
Mhm.
Who does the sign call go to?
Me.
Okay, it goes to you.
Mhm.
What does that go into your database or does that go into, I'm just wondering how you quantified that, like because I'm gonna talk to every single person in my database, whether I know them or not. My sphere is getting my emails and my quarterlies, and my never mets are getting emails and quarterlies.
are they the same?
Well, they're actually all on the same smart plans.
Do you want to boost conversion on those?
Yeah,
Make them two different things?
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so we haven't, so in the past, the answer to the question is I've never needed
Right,
to do.
but that doesn't help me because I have to.
I know, so
Yeah.
like that, with that being said, if I was to have to, because now I have agents on the team that are coming onto the team that don't have the luxury that I have,
Mhm,
right? So then you're gonna have two separate databases.
okay,
Okay, you're gonna have because your goal is gonna be from move to 2 to 1,
Right.
right?
mhm,
So you need to follow up with the ones in a very specific way that is very Cassie,
okay.
because they're working with you because of you,
Mhm,
okay? The people that you don't know, you need to have something that gets in front of them all the time that berates them, that they hate,
okay,
which is not what you put in front of your ones, because they already know you. You do have to follow up with them.
mhm,
You have to be in their world. And I mean, you have to be in their world.
right,
But the twos, you don't have to be.
But you don't, okay, so should I, rather than separate them, should I have something extra for them? Because I feel like the content that I'm
Mm.
giving is pertinent to them.
It's a really good question.
You know what I mean? So like my data, my monthly email is really good. It's reminders of doing your filters and that kind of thing. So I don't want to leave them out of that.
Okay, when you say it like that, so we're doing basically the same thing for both.
Yeah,
We have things that we do extra for the
okay,
people we like and work with.
okay. And I actually did create that. I created a VIP. That's my tag
Yeah.
for that. So I just wondered like, so if you did have a sign call, so let's say you had a sign call. What are you doing with that person that you didn't convert immediately?
Shannon, plug your ears, so this might not be the thing. I really think when you're confident enough and you don't care and you make the asks, you'll close them every time.
Okay,
So the problem with this question for me is that I closed them all.
okay.
So Christy asked if you use tags in command.
So we're moving to tags. I'm a big fan of simplicity because I'm a frame of reference guy.
Mhm.
So the more complicated things get, the
I don't
more.
have very many tags, but for sure the VIP is one and yeah.
So there needs to be some way to distinguish between all of them, but I don't have a ton of tags.
So for you, the big thing is with the leads that come in like sign calls. For you, the whole thing is just detaching from the outcome. Whether you convert them or not, it doesn't matter to you, right? Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, like, this is what Amy was saying just a second ago. You can't make them have a need.
right.
So if they don't have a need and I don't know you, I don't care to work with you. It's not that I don't want to help you.
Yeah.
But you have to have the need that I can help with for me to help you.
It goes to like lead generation and cramming in bad leads from lead generation into your database or lead pool,
Yeah.
however you organize.
But you're not gonna go back and pursue them?
Probably not. In the past, because I haven't needed to. Right? Let me be like hyper clear. When I started, my database was not a 1,
Right.
right?
So let's go back to that.
Okay.
Why don't we go back to year one with Blake Hook?
Sure. What would you like to know? 'Cause it
What
was-
did that look like, your lead generation?
I was out until 9 PM every night. Every night. Weekends did not exist. Because I didn't want to do open houses, right? I was really, honestly,
So
what I
you
was doing
went
was,
out places to be around people.
To start
Is
conversation.
that what you mean?
I
Like
was
you,
looking for people I wanted to help.
He was over caffeinated.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah.
I got coffee with him a couple times when he first started.
It's a relationship game,
Right.
right? So if you don't want to sit down and you don't want to call 300 people to hit your goals, you should want to hit your goal. Let me make this like really, really, really clear. When I didn't have to do those things, that meant that I had to do way more of the things that I was willing to do,
Right,
which took time.
right.
Like,
Which, what you're saying sounds horrible to me. And I
Yeah.
would rather do open houses every single day.
do that
Yeah.
all the time. Do as many of them. So,
Mhm,
but it's the same thing. So all I
Right.
did was whatever the thing I wanted to do,
mhm,
I did a ton of it
mhm.
because the goal was to win Rookie of the Year and that was it. So I'm gonna push through and get to that. Time, like another good question, like right up here to ask yourself is what are you willing to sacrifice to hit your goal?
Right,
Okay, and I don't mean what are the things you're willing to miss out on? What are the things that what are the things you're willing to
Right.
sacrifice to like get the thing that you want?
mhm,
And if the thing that you want doesn't require sacrifices,
mhm,
you should really look at that.
right,
So like there's a reason most big rainmakers have failed relationship, like it is hard on relationships. That's really what drove me down this big thing. But the answer is I did the thing that I was willing to do, a lot of it.
mhm,
A lot of it. So if you're sitting down and you're calling people that you don't know, the thing that you're running into is no's. Like you're literally looking for the person that's ready to go or
Mhm.
someone that's willing to
Right.
be in a relationship with you.
right. The number game is what we're doing,
Mhm.
make our phone calls.
I
Yeah,
can't sit down and do that.
Yeah,
So I had to go out and meet people. One of them converts way higher than the other,
right.
which is.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I open house converts a lot faster than my phone
course.
calls do. My phone calls are
Prospecting.
1 out of 585. I mean, you know, in the last year, 1 out of 585.
Yeah.
Open houses is 7 out of 120.
So, the answer to the question is I met a lot of people for a long time. And I didn't like it, I didn't enjoy it, but it still was, and I didn't have a database because I didn't start here, so I didn't know any of this stuff. So
Right.
it's been a long time catching up. Shannon?
I'm having a really hard time keeping my trap shut. No, and I respectfully agree and disagree with everything. To Cassie's point about your conversion, I think you still do the activity because it is your practice and it's your conversation building. And it's that non-skill based, but
Which activity?
repetition, the
Phone
calls,
calls?
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Even though
yeah.
the calls.
No, I know, because it's
Yeah.
a numbers game and I truly believe that. I mean, I really, really do believe that. You can't, I mean, I'm at a point that I cannot focus on open house and that be my only source of sale. It's just not gonna happen. I also have to talk to my friends and remind them, please, use me and whatever. And then I know the phone calls is literally 586 phone calls every quarter. And maybe even more than that, just,
Those are probably needs to be more, like 586.
well, it's 586 is what's in my database, so that's 586 a
Hmm.
quarter, but there's probably more than that phone calls, especially if they're in my pipeline
Mhm.
or they gave me some sort of light that said I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
So anybody that's not, everybody that's like, I'm just looking, but anybody that said I really want to, I just don't know when, they're in my pipeline, so I'm
Sure.
calling them more often.
And with those people, you've got a specific smart plan or way that you're following up with them.
Yeah, and so some of them are brand new people, so they're first time home buyer smart plans.
So how do you follow up with first time home buyer? Like, what's your specific smart plan for them?
That one has a list of emails that sends them information about the whole process. It's like every week they get an email and then I check in to say, did you get that email? Did you have any question about that? It's not going anywhere yet, and I'm gonna say yet, because they're first time home buyers.
Yeah, it's always yet,
Yeah,
because that's, first off, everything is numbers.
right.
For me, I know how many people I need to run into in public until I
Mhm.
will probably get a deal.
Yeah,
So the math is always the same. It's the activities that can change. Okay,
Mhm.
well, the math changes too, but there's always math there.
yeah,
If you're going through and like, hey, did all those emails make sense? Like, put more Cassie into it.
right,
And your conversion will go up tremendously.
right. Well, if they
I'm trying to
talk
say
to me,
that-
they'll get it. If they don't talk to me, they're not gonna get it.
The other thing that goes with what you're talking about too is out of pipeline maturity. So where you may only get one out of that 500, whatever it is
Mhm.
this year, next year.
It could be 32.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that pipeline maturity, I'm sure for you is
Mhm.
huge too. So.
Right,
It's enough to get me where I want to go currently,
right.
right? And like, that's always the question. Do I have enough business to get me where I want to go right now?
Mhm.
And if it changes, I'm aware that I might have to go do.
And I'm sort of at that point, is it enough to keep me going? And it is right now, enough to keep me going, because I do see light at the end of the tunnel because of what I've been doing for the past 2 years.
What feels different about this?
Keep me going versus where I want to go. Is that what I'm reading?
Give me to where I want to go, yeah. What's different about those things?
Keep me going is a downward, like it is, it's got like a negative connotation to me.
Fear-based.
Yeah, fear-based is probably good. Get me where I want to go is goals-based.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like with your lead generation, it should always be
yeah,
to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
So it like,
If I'm doing the work, and I just think I have to tell myself, am I doing the work to get me where I want to go, or am I pretending to do the work? And I'm hoping I get there.
100%, this
Yeah.
is the agent problem, by the way.
Mhm.
Like, you're not alone. Like, every agent's like, God, I wish I could just do.
And they're doing
It's like-
that half the time, like.
Yeah, it's like, hey, just remember, like, freaking lead generation sucks,
Mhm.
period.
Evan calls it a contact sport. Real estate's a contact sport.
This,
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah,
what are you willing to do to get
right,
there? But make sure you're going somewhere.
right.
It's good stuff,
Super good.
really good stuff.
Fun.
And this is why I'm so glad you came, is because we have different theories and they're both right.
100%.
And that's what's so cool about this is the way Cassie's gonna do her business versus the way Sarah does hers, or how I grew up doing mine, or,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, it's all different, and we need to hear different perspectives, right? Like,
Sure.
your database is more sacred, whereas my database is, yours is deep, mine is wide,
Right, exactly.
right? And the wide is okay.
As long as you're swimming in it.
Yeah, right, like, because it is a numbers game, so mathematically, logistically, that should work out, right? As
Right.
long as I'm doing the activity repetitiously, it'll work out until I can get my skill better.
So to go back to the point you made about his database. So for you, for the leads that come in, do you, instead of putting, obviously they don't go into the database unless you do a transaction with them that you enjoy it.
Mhm.
Do you have a process in place set up for those leads that you don't convert or haven't converted yet, or you just?
No, so this is where on my end, I'm getting better at,
Yeah.
because it is two different schools of thought,
Mhm.
right? I've always been able to get enough business to have more than I need,
Right.
right? So some people would say he's comfortable and he needs to not be comfortable. No, I'm very uncomfortable in other areas of my life that I'm getting really good at.
Yeah.
Currently, my business is comfortable and I need it to be that way so that I can figure out the other things, right? So to do that, no, I haven't needed to follow up with them. What I do now is I pass them on to my team,
Yeah.
right? Because there's no reason to not get the money.
Right.
But so that's where I'm saying I had the luxury of being able to make, like, do I want to work with you? Do I not want to work with you?
Right. So you were selective.
I was very selective.
And you
Now,
had the opportunity. to be.
if someone shows up and I don't know if I like them or not, but they're ready, willing, we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're going. You know, like, I'll figure out if I like you in the process.
Yeah, whether you make it to the database is a different thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, dude, it's like the database to
You
me,
date them until you decide if you want to marry them.
yeah, like if you're in my database, I'm choosing to follow up with you for as long as I'm in real estate. And I want to have a very intentional relationship with everyone in my database. Right? In order to do that, I have to have people in there that I want to call.
Right.
And this is just my mindset around being, I guess, wide or deep. I would
Mhm.
rather have 300 people that get me where I want to go.
Mhm.
But I'm also aware if all of a sudden what I want to do is be the biggest real estate team in Missouri, this doesn't get me there.
Right.
I have to go wide because it is a 100% numbers game.
Mhm.
The relationship matters. Like, a difference I think between the two there is, like, when we say relationships matter at one, it matters. It is everything.
Right.
Two, no, your product matters. You need to be you need to do your transaction relationally
Yeah.
with a lot of people.
Mhm.
Because there's no way you can be in a relationship with that many people. It is literally impossible to do.
Right.
So if the goal is to do more than, like, I've been saying 50, because at 55, 2 years ago,
You're dying.
oh my God.
Yeah.
It was not enjoyable. Like, the money was great. It allowed me to accelerate my goals.
Right.
Speed is not on my, like, I'm good with the pace that I'm going.
Mhm.
I don't need more money to do those things.
Right.
But if I need to turn it on, I want to make sure that what I'm not saying is, I'm not afraid of hard work or doing things that I don't want to do.
Mhm.
I've done that and I make sure to maintain it so I don't have to go back to it.
Right. It's just like with anything else. You do something so that you don't have to do it anymore. I mean,
Yeah, and this is where
you work hard for 30 years so you can retire and not do that job anymore. You're not gonna not do it. You're just gonna do it in a different way.
and lead generation sucks and you always have to do it.
Right.
And it's always terrible. Like, that's why that's up there for me,
Yeah.
even in 4 years. And my lead
But really,
generation.
I mean, yeah, and your lead generation would come out of, I guess, necessity because yours is really more follow-up. You're in the more follow-up stage. If with your 300, because it's deep, it's follow-up.
My follow game is incredible.
Right.
My lead generation game is okay.
Mhm.
My lead conversion game is incredible.
Right.
Right? So I know that if I need to ramp up business to
Right.
buy whatever the thing I want is, I have a lead generation problem. Because you can lead generate, you can convert them, and you close them, and you follow up with them.
Mhm.
And then it is just the same thing,
Mhm.
and that funnel never changes, and it's always that thing.
Right.
And it's gross. And beautiful. And gross.
Beautiful, yes.
It's kind of out there.
That's a good descriptor, gross and beautiful.
Because it gets where you want to go.
Yeah.
But separate the two in your database.
Mhm.
And the people that you don't know. Okay. Until you know that they like them, when you find the people that you're like, I could work with these people for the rest of my life,
Mhm.
call me, I'll show you what we do for those people.
Mhm.
Anybody besides those people, listen to everything she's saying and just do that.
Mhm.
like truly. And then over time, you'll get so many people. The number one takeaway that I had my first year, I literally took 72 agents out to coffee and everyone's like, "Oh, you like coffee?" It's like, no, I was committed to my goal. Like,
Yeah.
so when I came into this spear-based, like, oh, it's just this, it's like, no, dude, I took it very intentionally. Like it was, you did 2 million or more and you've done that for X amount of years. And I'm going to find why and how you stayed in the business because I'm gonna be here. All of them, and I mean all of them, none of them had a team. I didn't know any of this at the time. Just did one activities. Oh, I just call them on their birthday. We go out to dinner. We just do. I was like, oh, okay. If that's what you're doing to sell 30 to 50 homes a year, I'm just gonna do those things and not the other things because the people, they all started doing 2 activities. Oh, I did open houses. It's like, when's the last time you did an open house? Like, it's been years. Oh, why? Because it doesn't, what they're saying is because it doesn't convert fast enough. It converts, it's not fast enough. So,
More work to work at open house lead.
yeah. All of it is work.
But I think
What work are you willing to do?
For
That's
me, it
always.
is personal, one-on-one,
Mhm.
can I help you get where you want to go? That's why when I'm up here talking or if it's a panel and people are like, how do I'm like, just do something.
Right.
Like, please, until you do that, no one can help you.
Do something consistently.
Even if it's the not a lot, do it. Then we can be like, do more of that. You're at least willing to do that. You guys say something else?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, yeah, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
How many people do you know in your database, Cassie?
How many people do I know in my database? I think it's 98, I think is what I have.
585 in there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
How would you, so like, those are your VIPs that you're talking about? Is that right?
Uh-huh. I've either done business with them or I have a personal relationship with them. And someone I wanna
Where do
continue.
they want to go next?
I don't know.
So this is, I'm asking that, because if I was going to just sit down and knock shit out,
Mhm.
this is not the way to do that with these people. Sitting down and knocking shit out is not the answer, right?
Mhm.
Well, it is the answer, and then some. Of the trust piece, if they use another agent, like you're still Cassie,
Mhm.
you still know how to do it.
Mhm.
It's the empathy piece, because you don't know where they want to go next.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing that you can do with people that you are working with currently is know where they want to go next. Mainly because they're not gonna think about it, because they don't know that they need to think about it until like, oh my God, it's too late.
Mhm.
Like if you call somebody that just had a kid, I used to think this was the grossest thing in the world until I was like, oh, if I sat with it for a year, it took me a year to understand this. You don't know this, you're gonna need more space. You're gonna need more space. When you do, call me. Oh, you're just trying to get a sale. Dude, you're gonna do it.
Babies take up so much space.
Just their
Everyone
toys
does.
alone.
The things they sit in takes up space.
Yeah, my living room is like, I've got 3, so yeah, I'm just.
It is almost like, I wish there was a
Yeah.
statistic for, I mean, golly, like. I bet
Like
it's
how many
less than a
square
year.
feet a child
Yeah.
takes up?
Yeah, like. So just think of those things, and if you know where they wanna go. And you call them, it's not a nasty conversation.
Right.
Hey, you guys just had a kid, you wanted to move here, you're probably gonna wanna move that up. Oh, God, like you're helping them get where they wanna go. You're not calling them to see if you can sell them something.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
That's the difference of the long-term play from the 1 and the 2.
Mhm.
If you don't make that shift, your 2s are just 1s. Or your 1s are just 2s.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
So then,
And then you're more of a consultant.
Yeah.
is it, Chrissy said you need more with a teenager too.
Oh, God, I bet, like, I don't,
Another car and
wild.
all the clothes and.
And then even if they're like, no, we're good. By the time that they do need it. And then
you
you're like,
really need it.
hey, remember we talked about this? All you're doing is confirming that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Make sure you believe in all that.
I think that's a good mind shift.
Mind shit.
Yeah, mind shift
Yeah.
too,
You got a lot of that.
is looking at it as like a consultant. Like my job is to help you accomplish your goals, whether that be financially or
getting to the dream neighborhood or dream house you want. Like that's how I've always looked at it since after like my first year. So,
I want to change semantics. First off, semantics matter. Semantics are very important, right? Not how I look at it being. Like I believe that if you believe these things, you're gonna be fine in almost everything, in almost all of it.
Yeah.
But I believe that this is the case. Because there's 1,000 different ways to look at it. And if you're just always looking at them, then you're gonna just keep shifting around.
Semantics are important. You know your shit, or you know you are shit.
Ooh, yeah. Ugh. For sure. Cassie, if you need help with the one smart plan, I'll show you what our teams do. We
Okay.
literally just got a Blackstone in. It says March Madness, a bunch of people on it. We like sports. If you work with us, you know we like sports. We are sending out a database or a text and an email, and like this is where the numbers like weird. It's a five touches in this one go. But it's fill out a March Madness bracket. If you win, you get the Blackstone. That's it. What's not yet? It totally makes sense. Like everyone's like, oh, my wife doesn't. I'm like, dude, then fill it out for her.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we have people that opted out of our texts that found we were doing this. They're like, can I opt back in?
I think one thing I really, like the 1-2 thing, ever since Jason Abrams said that, I mean, you guys know I've been preaching it, right? I think what's cool about the ones, it's all about being totally you and doing the things you like to do with the people that are like you, right? And those ones, it's all about those kinds of events, and that's an event, right? So super cool.
1000%. And if you want to build a database full of ones, when I say that I was out till 9 PM and gone every weekend, I mean all of them. Like, but I went to places that I had things in common because novelty, right? Your brain's like, it's threatening. So if you're going to a place that you don't know with people that you don't know, you're gonna be like, how do I talk to that? No, but if you go to a video game store, like I could give handfuls of these examples. If you just make the connection and just call, it is what Contender Esports opened here in town. I've never been in the building. Never been in the building once. But I called him, I was like, hey man, I played video games when it wasn't cool. Like that's what I was doing. And it's really cool that you're building a place for those people to get out of their houses now and get together and play there. I think that's really dope. If you need anything at all, please call me. This is my number. He called me back 2 hours later. He goes, you said your name was, I was like, it's Blake Cook. He goes, what do you do? I was like, I'm a real estate agent. He goes, actually, I saw your videos on Facebook. If you could help me figure out video marketing, that'd be great. I was like, well, yeah, that's me. I don't know that I'll be able to help you, but that's me. Anybody that is relocating here, which is the franchise headquarters, or leaving here, I am their agent. So from that one phone call, I've gotten 11 deals. If there is kids in there and they want to talk about real estate stuff, I'm the go-to guy. And as these relationships evolve, like this is, so there's your sphere of influence, and then there's the influence of your sphere. Okay, so if you're really going to grow your business as big as you can as a one, you need to prioritize the people that have influence over their sphere so that you can get what we call a referral. Because if you have people that don't know people and you're like, I hope they give me business, they may give you like 4 over 10 years, which is good. But finding someone that has something in common with you that's also trying to build something, it's insane. And so now at 1:30 or 1:30, I'm meeting him at the vineyard because he's like, hey man, I just saw that you like cigars. I was like, yeah. So I'm meeting him, 3 of his expansion partners, and then somebody else to have a cigar. And just because I like playing video games. And I know that I know what I'm talking about. But I have to then, so let me zoom out really fast so that people don't just be like, oh, so you just have to know people. No. We're gonna go have a cigar. They're gonna talk about things. Someone's going to make a recommendation about something to which I'm gonna put it in my to-do-ist under recommendations tab. I'm gonna find all of these things. I'm gonna look at those things and be like, none of those sound interesting, then I will do none of them. If any of them sound remotely curious, like I'm curious about any of them at all, I will then go into the thing, learn about it for about an hour to figure out what it is. I will then get the contact information of the person that recommended it and say, hey man, let's get coffee because I want to know more about this. I thought this part was interesting. I don't really understand this. You're in. Because that's how relationships are made. If I can make a math equation for relationships, I think more people would do them. but it doesn't feel right. Because novelty is threatening. Systematic. Past time, cool.
You're my favorite.
Picture that, or was that Amy?
I got it. I wrote it all down. I'll give it to Amy if she didn't get it right down.
Cool. Thank you online.
Did you do a podcast or no? Am I